Stop it. Hello, everyone. Looks like we got a good group here, and it's 2 o'clock, so I'm going to start the recording. Oh, it's recording already. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining me here today. I'll go back to sharing my screen. And let's go to hold on just one moment. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is James Hennelly. I am the director of RDA Toolkit, and I just wanted to take today to just give you a bit of a, this is not the right slideshow, I just realized. I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to grab the right slideshow. Open a different file. Here it is. Let's go to this one. And hold on. Stop my share again. Sorry about this. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. So today I just want to take about 30 minutes to go over some stuff that is new on the RDA Toolkit and some of the stuff that we're working on. And then we'll have plenty of time if you have any questions you want to direct my way. I suggest you put all your questions into the Q&A space, and after I'm done with my presentation, we can go through the Q&A space together. All right, and I may be jumping between this slide deck and the actual live site to show you a couple of things we're working on. So that said, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you these two recent releases items that we did add to the toolkit, the fixed title header and the alternate guidance menu. I want to show you how kind of to interact with them and make things work with them. First off, with the alternate guidance menu, I just want to say why we created this. This was created at the recommendation of our two cataloging instructors who did a kind of a more detailed look at what's happening with the toolkit and how people are trying to teach it or exploring how to teach it. And they suggested that the guidance items in the guidance menu could be rearranged in a way that would be more helpful to instructors. So we had some back and forth and tested out some different approaches, and with the guidance of, with the input of these two instructors, one who is now our education and orientation officer, Elisa C. from University of Toronto, and her colleague, the other one was her colleague, Mei Chan. We came up with this new what we call orientation view of the guidance menu, and it's meant to take, as you can see here, a more thematic approach to arranging the chapters of the guidance menu. Along those same lines of addressing some needs of people teaching and training the new official toolkit, there will be a document that will release in January called the Teaching and Training Tips document that was prepared by Elisa C. And she put this together. It's about a 6-page document that she prepared by interviewing LIS instructors throughout North America and in Europe and other places as well, getting their feedback and pulling together an assessment of different approaches to training and teaching the new toolkit. So be on the lookout for that document next month. Okay, I'm going to switch here to the toolkit and show you these two. Here we are. These two new features in person here so we can better understand how they work. So the first one I want to show you is that guidance menu, that alternate guidance menu. So here you can see we have the guidance menu as it has been since the creation of the official toolkit. And it's kind of, with the exception of this top item, Introduction to RDA, it is in alphabetical order. So the topics aren't arranged in any kind of significant way other than just their alphabetical identification. So we switched this to an alternate guidance menu option, or we built one, and you can access this through a through your settings in your views. Now, most people are used to logging into a profile. Here I can log into a profile, my profile, and you can see here views at the top, and you can see you can choose here your views. So I'll go to manage my views. This will take just a second, hopefully. There we go. And changing to the orientation guidance view just means checking this box. On any of your views, you can choose to have that apply. These are institutional views here. You can see institution. So I only have the clone option here. I can't actually edit those views here. But this is a profile view of mine. So I can use that to toggle this on and off, and I can save it. So, and you'll notice this view that I saved is called test profile. So if I go up here and I switch to test profile, you'll see my guidance menu has now changed to this more thematic arrangement. You still have to do some mousing over, etc., to get to the different topics. But we welcome your input on this, and we hope that you find this useful, at least in some instances, a useful way to approach the guidance chapters. Now, some of you, the default setting on the toolkit is to have, let me go back to home here. The default setting if it would settle here, is to have the alphabetical list. And most most subscribers have the default setting in their account of the alphabetical list. Now, if you want to change it to the orientation view for all of your staff people, for everyone logging in from your institution, you can do that by changing it in your institution profile, which you get to through the admin site. So this is really slow today. I'm not sure what's going on there. Here we go. All right, so to go to the institution view, in the footer, you'll see this administration option. And you can log in here with your account login, not your profile login, but your account login. And I'm going to use one that I just set up today so you can see what it looks like if you've never done this before. So I'm going to put in my account login. All right. And this says, I'm going to go to Manage Institution Views. And I set up one earlier, and this is my default menu. When you come into this, you may see nothing at all here. This page everything may be unchecked, and you can go ahead and check which one policy statements you want access to. Choose which one you want to be your primary policy statement, etc. And then here I'm going to go and choose my use orientation guidance menu. And then I'll click save. Now you'll see that my guidance menu is set to the orientation view. I can always go back, unclick it, hit save, and it goes back to the alphabetical. So here's where you would, by doing it through this institutional profile in your admin system or your institution view, that's where you can set the experience for the rest of your staff if they're not using profiles, etc. And it'll show up in their profile list. They just won't be able to edit it, but it'll be there too as an option. All right. Next, I will, I'll check questions here. Someone asked if there are written steps on how to access orientation venue. There are. Those are available in the help section right up here. You can answer that live. And I'll show you that real quick. I think it's in here, using image to try manage institutional views. It's right here. It's a little walkthrough of it. And it looks like my image isn't working. I'll have to get that fixed. Let me make a note. Okay. The next thing I want to go over with everyone is let's go to item, the frozen header. Some people might find this a little tricky. This was developed at the request again of some feedback we got from some users who were doing a lot of work in the toolkit and found it a little disorienting when this header that lists the element page you're on, or entity page in this case, and the policy statement set disappeared when you scroll down. So they sometimes on these longer pages get a little lost on where exactly they are. So this now when you scroll, it stays at the top. So you always have that available to you. And one of the nice features of this is we kept the policy statement set options here at the top as well. So you can change policy statements. I could change to NL and ZP without changing my place in the page. So that allows everyone to kind of switch back and forth between policy statements without losing track of where they are. We also, I'll just remind people because they may forget, this little caret over here, you click that and it takes you back to the top of the page. Now, one of the things we're working on that still needs a little refinement, and I was just talking to my developer the other day about it, is I'm trying to see if we have one here, a link here. Here, this probably goes. No. Let me go to a guidance chapter. Sometimes when we resolve to a link, it doesn't, trying to think of a good one here. Maybe Content Curator will have some good links for me. So here in a table of contents type page, I can click on base categories. And it takes me to base categories, but the header hasn't clicked in. So whereas if I just scroll down from the top of the page, it does. So that's something we need to work on. And so this is still something that I hope to get improved for the January release that's coming up. And another one is, and if you see these, I always am happy to get a report about it. So I can make I don't think this is a good example, but let me try in here. Let me try with person. And then go to access point for person. Usually when it makes a link to somewhere in the middle of another page, it will it'll resolve too high, and this banner is covering up where the link should actually have resolved to. So here's like one. This might work for me. Nope, that one just didn't click in the thing again. Anyway, I want to just point this out. There are some bugs with this. It's a really good feature, but there are some bugs. Please let us know when you find it's not behaving the way you think it should. We're trying to refine this and make it work in a way that it's helpful, but not blocking your experience. So it should always be there no matter where you land in the page your link takes you to. And it shouldn't be obscuring where the link was supposed to resolve to, which I have noticed on a couple occasions. I just can't seem to locate the one I had before. All right, back to the slideshow now. I'm gonna talk about a few of the brand new things we have lined up for the coming releases in 2024. So the release schedule we have for 2024 is we will have a release in January. I think right now it's scheduled for January 24th. If everything goes accordingly, I may have to push it a couple of days to make sure we hit that date. And then we will have a release in March, and then one in July and one in September. And it's my expectation that this will become the regular cycle of releases every year: January, March, July, September. And the reason we have kind of a 4-month, 2-month, 4-month, 2-month kind of cycle instead of just the regular 3-month cycle is that it gives us a little more time to work on bigger projects. And it gives that short cycle gives translations and translation teams and policy statement teams kind of opportunity to catch up with the RDA English content and where it's at. So as much as possible, we like to keep everything in sync and up to date. So that's part of the thinking behind that interval as well. The other big thing we have coming up is, which I think we'll have for January, is the multilingual display. So currently in the toolkit, if you are logged into English, you can only see English language policy statements with the English RDA content text. If you want to see the Finnish policy statements, you have to switch over to the Finnish language setting. We're going to try and change that. This particular need came up with the fact that Library and Archives Canada policy statements are going to be arriving in January. It will be just a small batch of them. I think they just have some for manifestation policy statements, but it's the first implementation of LAC BAC policy statements. And it's our understanding that, Canada being a bilingual community, it is important for them to be able to switch and back and forth between the two languages, but also to be able to read their French policy statements against the most recent English language version of the standard. So we want to facilitate that. And we also recognize that going forward, we will have maybe more policy statements from different language groups who will want to look at maybe Library of Congress or British Library policy statements against their own translation of RDA. So say the Norwegians might have an interest in British Library policy statements and want to be able to look at them while they're looking at the Norwegian RDA content. And there'll be other instances like that. So we need to support that. And we're making some changes to the architecture that'll basically make all policy statements available to users no matter what language setting they have for the RDA text. So we're hoping that solution is pretty straightforward and we can get that up and running for January. The next big item we're working on is community resources. I'm going to talk in depth about that in the next couple slides here. But I do want to let you know that we hope to have that for January, though it may have to slide to March just because of some of the development work we have to do to support this. And then, of course, we'll be working on application profiles and how they can be expressed in the toolkit. This is really just a kind of experiment that we're running, but we hope to work on in this coming year. And we'll see how it goes. The first step is to just load some spreadsheets into the shared document, contributed documents area, share those with people, and they can kind of see how application profile might be set up and how it can link in through the toolkit, etc. And then we hope to kind of test out some other ideas beyond that. We'll see how far we can get in the coming year. So back to community resources. There are basically going to be two types of, or two groups that add content to the community resources space. One are what we call partners. And partners are groups that are already in our content management system. Those are people who, institutions that are writing policy statements or doing translations. So you'll see if you switch over to the Finnish language version of RDA, you'll see they already have community resources and they've put up some of their own unique documents for community resources. And those will be available to you when we get this set up without having to switch language for RDA. Everyone will have access to all community resources documents. The partners, because they're in our community, because they're in our content management system, will have access to our editor that we use for RDA, our editing tools. They're online. You can access them from anywhere, and they'll have the technology support of myself, of the DR staff, and our developers, and we'll work with them to make sure their content is easily accessible. Being in our content management system does involve an agreement with copyright holders, a signed agreement. Sometimes there can be a fee with that. Well, that's up for negotiation. The basic assumption is that there will be one. And then the other group is the contributors group. And this is people adding documents through the online HTML editor that is available in the toolkit. The HTML editor is pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple, nothing super refined, but it supports a wide range of languages. You can contribute. You can build the documents completely on your own, as just up to matching the skills that you have with HTML. The editor itself has kind of a Word-like interface, so it should be fairly easy to work with. You can't just copy and paste a Word document into the HTML editor. Your formatting will probably get a little out of whack. So you need to have kind of a basic comfort level with the HTML editor. What it will do is to contribute to community resources through the HTML editor, you will need approval from the RDA steering committee and the copyright holders, etc. This does not involve an agreement, written agreement. It just needs, you need to contact us and we'll set up instructions about that when we roll this piece out, and request approval. And it'll be reviewed by the RSC and it's probably our development team. And you'll basically, your account will be marked as a contributor to community resources, and you'll be able to add documents to the community resource space. And I'm going to show you kind of a rough mock-up on how all this will look. In some cases, I was recently talking with a group that was asking about community resources. And if you're a specific institution, you already have a subscription to the toolkit and you want to contribute and you're approved, then this will just be a feature, an identifier will be added to your account, that a tag that identifies you as a contributor. But if you are a more diverse group, say I was recently talking with OLAC, which is audiovisual catalogers, and they're a spread out group. I will set up a simple small toolkit account that they can use as a group to do their work, and it'll be tagged as a contributing resources account, and they can be able to work on their documents in the HTML editor, and you can assign several different people with editing access to those documents, so they can collaborate together on the documents. So next up, I want to show just kind of, this is a rough mock-up from inside our CMS of how this community resources space might look. So this would be a landing page. So when you clicked on community resources, instead of seeing what you see now, where you go to community refinements or community vocabularies, those will be moved into a partner organization known as Legacy RDA Instructions. And you'll have to click here and that'll take you to those familiar landing pages that you have now. And then we could have new partner organizations such as British Library. This is the Finnish National Library. And those will take you to their landing pages where they organize their documents however they see fit and provide access to everyone who subscribes to the toolkit to those documents. I should make it clear we can, with the contributed documents, you can make, excuse me, you can also make your documents available to non-subscribers of the toolkit. So I just want to clarify that point. The contributed documents will have a script that basically comes together and drops them into a table. So the table will include information like the contributing group, the title of the document, the language, and I added here document type. I don't know, maybe it'd be more useful to have date and shows when it was most recently updated, the document. I'm open to any kind of input people have on what kind of data they think would be useful to have for this table. We would also make this table, my plan is to make this table sortable by any of these columns, so you can navigate it around it fairly quickly. But this is the basic approach we'll take. These will be linked, the titles will be linked, and you click on those to go to that document. And we could also set it up maybe that these can appear in your documents collection in your profile if that's desired. So this is just for those using the community, the HTML editor, excuse me. This is basically what will happen. You will be identified as a community resource contributor when you log in to the toolkit and into your profile, and then you will see this radio button. It may not be exactly here or look like this, but there'll be a way for you to go and click that this particular document you're working on is meant to be a community resource. And when that's checked, then that will automatically be pulled into the table. And it's our intention that all community resources documents will be searchable. And so you'll be able to filter your search for hits in community resource documents, no matter if they're partner documents or contributor documents. Okay. So those are that's one of the really big things that we're working on. Like I said, there's a bit more architecture or structure that we have to build for the community resources space. I'm hopeful that we can get it into this January release so that the structure's there and then people can start contributing for the March release. But we'll have to see about that. We still have I have to get some more information back from my developers. I also just wanted to remind everyone about the submit feedback button on the toolkit. Several of the things I talked about today came from feedback that we get from our users on ways to improve the toolkit. I encourage you to use it while you're working. The feedback button is a great place to just submit if you find errors in the text like typos, broken links, etc. And I mentioned broken links twice there. If you have any other kind of navigation issues that come up, like you think a link goes to a place it's not supposed to go to, or the pages aren't moving in the way that you expect them to, the previous and next buttons aren't working as you expect, etc. You can also suggest improvements both to the text of RDA and to the improvements to the toolkit itself and how the toolkit behaves. One really important note here, do not use submit feedback to say you're having access problems. If you're having access, I check the feedback form once a month, and I go and I grab everything and we sort it out and we figure out where it goes. Does the RSC need to look at it? Is it something for me to work on? And how we want to deal with that feedback. But if you're having an access problem and can't get into the toolkit, please use RDA Toolkit at ala.org. That way you'll get an immediate response and we'll help you get your access back. All right, so we've entered the questions and comments portion of this. So I'm going to escape here and stop sharing and open it up. Wow, there's lots of questions and comments. Okay, great. I'm going to get through all of these. In Manage Views, I check the box to show all examples, but it seems that only the first example box on any given page opens. Is that a known problem? So the first example page on any given box. So let's look at that. Let's go back to my screen, share that real quick, because I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. So if I go in here, let me log out and log into my profile. So manage views. So show all. That'll show you all. Now, if I click the basic, it should turn off show all. I got to fix that. So if I go back to your question, only the first example box opens. Okay, and you have show all checked. Okay, I will make a note of that and I'll check it. If you can send me an example of where this happens, where you're only seeing one example box open and the rest are closed, that would be really helpful to me, and I'll get that address. Should we be viewing the slides? I hope I was showing next time. Please do not have a light source behind you. Okay, thank you for that. Should we be seeing your set down question? Perhaps what documents should be contributed here? So documents can include what has been addressed in the community resources right now is practices in handling of indefinite and definite articles, titles, titles of honorifics, etc., like that. They vary from language to language. So we're expecting a lot of the documents to come from different cultural communities, language communities that have their own way of and practices, how you put together an access point on someone's name. They have different ideas about what's the proper way to do an authoritative name structure, etc. So we expect documents like that. Will a contributor be able to edit existing legacy instructions? No, the legacy instructions are locked. Now you can copy them and then start writing your own version of them, and those will be yours. But the existing legacy files that you see now will not be available for edit. So the screen sharing, I guess I had some problems screen sharing. I apologize for that. Oh gosh, okay. Sorry about that. Oh, okay. This was a big fiasco, wasn't it? I thought I was sharing my screen. Uh, okay. All right. I will go back here real quick. The was it the slideshow screen sharing you weren't seeing? Not this. Okay, hold on. The questions I'm reading, you should be able to see in the Q&A. Hold on just 1 second. Screen share. Here we go. I apologize for this. This is the problem of not having a helper with me. Okay, so you should be seeing my slides now. And let me go back here. So, are you seeing my slides now? Okay, thank you. I apologize for that. So, here you can see the landing page. Partner organizations will be listed first. You'll see the name of each organization. You can click through to their landing page, and those partner organizations can construct and organize their documents, et cetera, in any way that they like. Their community resources, that's up to them. Here's would be the click through to the legacy RDA instructions that you see in community resources now. And that link would take you to the familiar landing pages for community vocabularies and community, the other one. I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, and then you'd have a table here for the contributing organizations that would list the contributor and the title of the document, language, and as I said before, document type, if that's desired. I'm open to anyone's thoughts on what would be an appropriate list of document types. And then we could also add date if people think that would be useful. The date it was most recently updated, the document is most recently updated, etc. And if there's any other data about the document you think would be useful. And then we would make it possible to share by the headers here, to resort the table and organize it by any of these headers. So it would be a fully sortable table. Okay, I think hopefully that's what I missed. And this is the create document where you would have this community resource label on the HTML editor that would identify, you would click that button to identify this is community resource document, and that's how it would get pulled into the table that we saw above. Where am I? There, that's how it would get pulled into this table, is by clicking that document, that dot, that button. So again, this is all dependent upon you being, your institution or group being identified as a community resource contributor. Okay. And then this was the feedback slide I was showing that I guess you didn't see before. Submit feedback. Feedback, this button should be used for errors in text, broken links, etc. Suggested improvements to the standard as far as like wording goes. So if you have a specific wording suggestion, or you think something's option is in the wrong place, or whatever you find that you think's a little out of whack, please let us know. And suggested improvements to the toolkit and its functionality, or if it's not working the way it's expected to, as I was talking about with the frozen header before. But again, don't use this for if you're having access or subscription issues. Instead, email us at rdatoolkit@ala.org. That way we can help you more quickly. All right. Okay. Oh, I see a second. All right. I think we covered everything. If anyone has any more questions, I do apologize for that sharing mishap. I'm very sorry about that. I'm doing this kind of on my own today, and lesson learned. I can't rely on not having a second to tell me to jump in and tell me I'm messing up. So I just stopped sharing. All right. Any other questions about the toolkit or on any topic? I'm happy to share. Okay. Question came in. The original RDA had examples. I do not see any in this version. There are plenty of examples in the current RDA toolkit, and but we also understand there's a need for more. So we hope to be adding more at a higher rate in the next year. The RC has formed a new RDA examples working group. Previously, the task of creating examples was up to one person, the examples editor. That editor will now have a working group who will be able to generate a lot more of examples, and we can start populating the official toolkit with a richer set of examples. We are also allowing translation groups to add their own examples now, and that may help enrich not only the translations with examples that are more appropriate to their language community, but it also might generate some ideas for new examples for the English language toolkit as well. So that's one of the things I should have mentioned actually on my slide is we do expect to see some real growth in the number of examples in the toolkit, in the official toolkit. Anybody else? Will it be possible to derive a new document from an existing one, clone a document, then edit, for instance? Yes, I believe you can do that currently with the workflow. Any documents that are shared globally, you can clone and then work off of those as a starting point. I'll double check on that and make sure that capability is available for these uh, uh, for these contributed documents. Now, if you want to work off of what we call a partner document, like the legacy instructions, you could do that if you were a legacy partner contributor, because you could copy it from our CMS. If not, you're just going to have to use that as your starting point and rewrite yourself. I can't provide that material to everyone outside of the CMS. So that's one. When is the original toolkit going away? It will be going away in May of 2027. And we'll start the countdown clock in May of 26, so you'll know when it's a year away. Will these examples help with practical application of toolkit information? Well, I always hope so. I think examples are meant to be illustrative and help to enhance understanding of the instructions. So hopefully our current examples do a good job of that, and hopefully the new ones will do an even better job of that. The appendices in the old toolkit were extremely helpful and useful. I understand that. The appendices, the information in those has either been redistributed to community resources, or a lot of the what we called relationship designators are now what's known as relationship elements in the new toolkit. And each element that expresses one of those relationships, you'll find more and more of those will have examples in them. Any video tutorials available, specifically how we can find the information we are familiar with in the old toolkit, RDA, and the new RDA. We have a lot of videos. We have a YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed to it. It's the RDA Toolkit YouTube channel. There's a link on rdatoolkit.org homepage. You can click there and subscribe to it. It has lots of useful videos about navigating the new toolkit and understanding new concepts and ideas that came out of the 3R project. As far as kind of finding what was old and the new, I think there might be some presentations kind of on that very topic. There are some limited instances where you can put in an old original RDA Toolkit number and search it in official RDA Toolkit, and it'll get you to the proper element. If you have a really long number, it probably won't work. But if you just kind of keep ticking back towards the front, so instead of like 3.5.12.1, if you kick back to 3.5.12, maybe that will work, or 3.5, that'll get you pretty close. That may get you pretty close to the answer you're looking for. Would it be possible to print web pages we use often on RDA for easy offline reference? All RDA pages are accompanied by a print button and a PDF. So you'll get a PDF from those web pages. If you're looking for PDFs of the contributed documents, we don't support that right now. I don't think you can print those, but we can look into that. What will be the application profiles be like? That's application profiles is really in development kind of thing. What we kind of have dreamed of is that you would basically be able to get a different view of a filtered view of RDA instructions that take you just to the elements that are related to the work that you're doing, and maybe even identify certain options or recording methods that you should apply, etc., and kind of reflect the decisions that you would put into, say, a spreadsheet of that's an application profile. But that's a big development work, and it's going to take a while for us to get that to happen in the toolkit. But you can add, if you're doing a kind of application profile within your institution, we are going to experiment with trying to use the bookmarks and notes features to create something like that. We can also work with the documents, the HTML documents feature, the contributed documents feature, to create kind of a page that allows you to click through, that guides you through choices you're supposed to make and allows you to click to the RDA Toolkit instruction pages that are relevant. Can you say again where the relationship terms can be found? So relationship designators have gone away. They've become elements. So whenever you go into here, I'll show my screen and I'll demonstrate this. All right, you should be seeing my screen now. When I go into an element, say work, I scroll down here. And here are a list of all the work elements. Now, I can tell which ones are I can filter this to see only ones that are relationship elements by clicking that. So here are all the different relationship elements. I can refine it more by saying I want relationship elements with agent. And here I get all the relationship elements. And I can click through and look at those. I can change it to person. So this is basically your domain is work, and this relationship element, you can pick a range. I can pick person. I can pick time span. I have a little problem there with epoch I got to deal with. Anyway, that's kind of where the relationships are now. They're in the entities files. They're under entities. They're actual elements, and they reflect a relationship between one entity, that's its domain, and another entity, which could be the same entity, which is its range. Any plans for printable work forms? I assume you mean like exercises or work forms you can use to fill out and print. I think that's something because RDA is so full of choices about how you want to catalog that it's not for the RSC and RDA to kind of put together forms that instruct someone how to catalog. It's and this is why we have application profiles that are coming out from Library of Congress and PCC, and you're going to see some from British Library and Library Archives Canada, and the German Library has already done this, and they're creating kind of these approaches to how they want material cataloged in their communities. And so I think they might be better positioned to create work forms. RDA is an international product, so I think, say, for the US market, it would be better if groups or institutions or trainers, et cetera, came up with their own work forms that were most relevant and helpful to that market. All right. Any other questions? If not, I will, well, I'm going to apologize one more time for the screen sharing fiasco. I feel bad about that. But otherwise, I thank you for your time. I hope you did get something useful out of this little webinar. And we'll be back. I know 2 people have raised their hands, but I can't open your mic, so I'm sorry. You'll have to type a question if you have a question. So anyway, I will post this recording, and we'll try and be back next month or February at the latest with another free webinar on some interesting topics about RDA and how to manage the transition to official RDA. All right. Thank you very much.